Yesterday I was driving back home after playing pool with some of my friends in Basildon, which is like an area near where I live. And while I was driving back, I was in the right lane, so the rightmost lane for the people in the UK. In the US, that would be the leftmost lane. So I was in the rightmost lane, and I was going about 68, 70, the speed limit, which is what you're supposed to do in that lane. And maybe I was hogging it a little because I was thinking that I would go past everyone who were in the other lanes. So I was just expecting to stay in there for a while and get past everyone and move back when I need to. So I stayed in the right lane, and then eventually I look into my rear view mirror, and a police car has pulled in from the left lane into the middle lane, and now it's moved in right behind me. And now it's behind me, it starts flashing its siren, and now it starts flashing its headlights at me. I've only been driving for about 4 months now, so I got a little jumpy, I got a little bit scared, like a little bit anxious, and I slowed down a little. I thought they were flashing me down. I thought I was maybe going a bit too quick or something was wrong with my car. So I slowed down a little to about a crawling pace. And that's the first mistake I think I made. I shouldn't have done that on the motorway. I slowed down, and then the police car comes up behind me and then moves into the lane next to me and keeps going. And now I'm confused. I'm thinking they didn't want to wave me down. What's the problem? So I keep driving for a bit in the right lane. And then I move into the middle lane, where now the police car has moved in front of me. And now they're playing this banner at the back of their car, which says, "Police, follow me, please." Okay, now I'm thinking, what have I done wrong now? Let's see what's going on. And I follow them into the hard shoulder. I go to the hard shoulder, and he comes up to my window, the policeman, in a really annoyed, angry attitude. And I put down my window, and he says, "Anything that you say can be used against you in court." All the law stuff that people usually say, when they're getting convicted. And I say, "Okay, what did I do?" And he tells me that I used a motorized vehicle to obstruct their pathway on the motorway. And I'm thinking, okay, right. And there was like a good cop, bad cop scenario, because there was the good guy who would come over and tell me like, "Oh man, you can't do that, and bro, that's not the right thing to do," and all this kind of stuff. And I was trying to explain to them that, I'm a 4-month driver, and you've just pulled up right behind me, started playing your sirens. As soon as you come up behind me and start flashing your headlights, I got a little bit jumpy. Of course, I'm going to be a little bit scared, so that's why I slowed down to see what you had to say. They were just telling me that you can't do that. The bad cop, the one who was really annoyed about the thing that happened, had told me that they were in pursuit of an emergency, and that they could have been going at 100 miles per hour, and that I obstructed them, and I should have just moved out of the way, and I could be subject up to £100 fine. And this situation happened, and I kind of just stayed to myself. All these things that I'm saying right now, like, oh, I should have said this, or I should have said this, I should have told them that, you came up behind me into my lane and they started flashing. Of course, I'm going to think that I need to stay here and whatever else. I didn't say any of that. I stayed quiet. I mean, I thought that, if I said something, then, the situation might get worse and I might get even worse penalties, and then that would be an even bigger hole. But why didn't I say anything? I mean, I was kind of frozen. I feel like now it's been the next day, I really think to myself that I should have said something. I should have told them that, this mistake happened from your side as well. And then I know I made a mistake, but you incentivized me to make that mistake. But I just accepted it. And I guess that's one of the mistakes that I usually make very often in my life, which is that I just accept things because I'm worried of conflict, or worried that something worse may happen, and I just kind of keep my point down because of that. I feel like I've gotten a little bit better at it over the years, but it's still there. And I don't know what that's related to. It could be, everything's apparently related to childhood trauma nowadays. But it's something interesting that I've come to an insight with, and I feel like something that I need to work on, something that I need to improve. The action of saying what I want and saying how I feel, and not just staying quiet, which is a pretty interesting concept to get around. And as long as you can do that, I think the world belongs to you. Have a level of agency. Don't do things that people have. Just because someone's saying something doesn't mean you should do it. It's about having a level of agency and thinking about those things and doing things on your own accord. I feel like that's what's really important. One thing that I've come to terms across recently is thinking for myself. You see, a lot of my life I've followed things that everyone's done. Like, you've done this, you've done that, so, and you've been successful, so I should try do that thing, right? I should try do that thing that you did, so that I can share the riches and the successes that you had. Unfortunately, that's not how it works. Everything is a lottery number. Everything is something that's worked for that unique individual, and it only worked for them because they are them. It's like, you look at anyone's business model and you try to do that for yourself. The reason it won't work for you is because you aren't them. It's not about it's not about that you can't work hard enough, or you don't have the information, or they're different and you're not like them. It is that you're not like them. If you're not like that person, you don't have that personality trait, you don't have that drive, you didn't have that situation happen to you. It's a lot of things that add together and accumulate to make their success. You'll never reach the success that they've reached, because they reached it because they're them and they have their own experiences, their own personality. And I guess that's something that I've come to terms with very recently, because over the years of me, say for example, following a gym program or following gym progress of things that other people did and tried to do that for myself so I could make progress, I did make progress. Of course I did, but I didn't make as much progress as those people did. Do you know why? Because I'm not them. They made a program, they made a training ritual that's to them, unique to them, something that works for them. If I do it, it's not going to work as well for me, because it wasn't made for me. It was made for them. So like, that's something you have to take into account when you start doing things for yourself. When you start training, find something that works for you. When you start your business, find something that works with you. What is it that your personality works with? What is it that you want to work towards? It's about what works for you. And I guess that's something that you really have to come to terms with, because that's how you make your successes. And I don't have the evidence to show you that that's the case, but it's right in front of you. Why is that all these businessmen and all these massive people who have these great successes are all different in their own way? Because they did something that works for them. That's what you have to do with your own thing, your own business, your own training, your own speaking skills, your own relationships, everything. You have to find what works for you. And that can be difficult at first, and it can be hard because it seems like you're stuck out in the darkness, and you're thrown into the deep end. You don't have anything to follow, you don't have anything to work towards. And that's okay. So that's an important concept that I've learned recently, and I guess it related to that story of the policeman. And something that I've been really trying to work on, and hopefully that's something that you can start working on too. Have a level of agency. Start thinking things for yourself, and possibly you'll make more progress than you did by following other people. So hopefully that's been helpful and of value to you, man. Appreciate you watching.